Hey guys, how you doing? This is A-Bomb. It's episode number 2 of Tell Me I'm Wrong. We have a special guest today. We've got Zach, aka Mr. Quickie, and later on in the show we're going to make sure we post up his link to his channel so you can check out his stuff. And say hello, Mr. Quickie.
What's going on, guys?
Also, the typical three-headed opinions of A Canuck here.
AK's here's all guys.
All right, so we've got a few things to talk about this week, not the least of which is the official end of the NHL lockout. And seeing as how this is 4 Canadians on the show today, we definitely wanted to touch on it. And up until this afternoon, the lockout was not officially over because the NHLPA had not ratified the agreement. But as of a couple hours ago, whatever it was, it's official. We're good to go. We have hockey back. And tell me I'm wrong, but a lot of people just say, meh.
Oh, 100%. It's one of those things where this whole entire lockout, if there's one thing that I learned is, unfortunately, I can live without major NHL hockey. I spent my hockey needs on players that actually played not for the dollar, but just for the game. I enjoyed the World Juniors, although we didn't do as well as I thought we would do.
That's always painful.
I have been enjoying WHL hockey, and it's been a treat to watch because, there's nobody bitching and complaining about finding a way to split $3.3 billion.
Yeah. I gotta tell you're wrong there, guys. As everyone knows,
guys,
I'm from Winnipeg.
hey, whoa, don't lump everyone in here.
Back in Winnipeg, all the fans are going absolutely bananas for getting the Jets back, and I myself, too. I was just dying without having hockey to the point where I started playing NHL 13 nightly in an online league with salary caps, trades, the whole nine yards.
Hard left.
Yes, hard left. Hard left is right. So I'm going to tell you wrong there, Canuck, because I definitely couldn't live without the NHL.
What do you say, Zach?
I'm just one other thing. I knew it was going to come back. I just thought that for this year, I think the majority of people are going to be like, meh. I mean, Winnipeg will always be the exception because you guys got your team taken away from you.
Yeah, that's right.
There's a different motivation level there. What are you guys saying out east, Zach?
Yeah, like the NHL. Well, I don't really follow it, but I can honestly say that my dad, who followed it like crazy, he couldn't have cared less that it was done. And, he's happy it's back now, but it's just a little too political for everybody. That's what I think. Mm-hmm. So,
yeah, no, good call there. And I'll say this: when I say meh, I mean it. Like I said going into the lockout, I'm not going to care until the NFL season is finished, and they're back before the end of the season, so it worked out well for me. But all this bickering and pointless fighting did for me was just reiterate to me that guess what, the league and the players don't care about any of the fans at all. They can pay it all the lip service they want. They don't give a crap, and it's just all about the dollars. And until that changes, fans are just not going to be stoked on it, and it's going to take a long time to get everyone back, I think.
Well, I'm not sure if you guys have seen any of the posts online, but a lot of different clubs are trying to do things to rectify the lockout for their fans. Nashville stands out in my mind just because of the things that they're doing. $98 for a lower bowl seat, half-price beer, half-price everything in the concession stands. Some clubs are going above and beyond to try to rectify and say, hey, we're sorry, we were big jackasses about this whole deal. But then there's other clubs that will never do that, like Toronto and Montreal, and they don't have to because they'll continue to sell out year after year.
Hey, Toronto got rid of Brian Burke's salary, so they're cutting costs.
Yeah.
No, they're still paying that salary.
Yeah.
What were you going to say, Zach?
Oh, I was just going to say, like the Toronto Maple Leafs, they're just going to cash in on the rest of this season.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Tickets will probably go up instead of down.
Exactly.
Probably.
Yeah.
Pretty much in all the Canadian cities and in some of the big U.S. hockey markets, like New York, Philly, the standout hockey markets, things aren't going to change for them. They're going to charge the same, and in fact, like you said, they'll probably bump up ticket prices to try to make up for some of the money they lost in the first, like third to 2/5 of the season, and that's unfortunate. But teams like Nashville, you can say good on them for doing something, but they have to. If teams like Nashville don't step up and make changes in cost and charging less for beer, they're going to have a lot of empty seats.
Well, I will say this: after this whole debacle and listening to Gary Bettman do the giant BS apology, I say the gentleman who is Mr. Bettman deserves all the hate he's going to receive until he's no longer the commissioner of the NHL. Because there is no more of a hated individual in all the NHL than the commissioner, which is hilarious because you look at all the other major sports and he takes the cake.
Well, A-Bomb, correct me if I'm wrong, there's been 5 lockouts in NHL history? 4?
4, I believe, possibly a 5th, like years ago before the it was really a fully fleshed out PA versus governors. So.
Right, and how many of those lockouts have been under Bettman's commissionship?
4,
if that's a word.
Since Bettman. I mean, sorry everybody if you're not an NHL fan. We're going on about the NHL, but we'll move on here shortly. I will say this: Gary Bettman, read a stat the other day. Since he took over the league as commissioner close to 20 years ago, the league has lost over 10% of its games to work stoppage. 10%.
Wow.
Can you imagine any business on the planet losing 10% of its product in a 20-year period, and the guy still having his job and getting paid millions of dollars to do it? I can't think of any other company that would do that, other than maybe like GM. Yep, we're good. We're good. It's all good. Just keep putting them out. Keep putting them out. It's all good. All right, so let's move on to something a little more lighthearted and a little more open for everybody. Pie versus cake. All right, we've got some strong opinions here, and I'm gonna let one of the other guys lead off on here and get the pie ball rolling.
Well, this all started on a brief It was a polite conversation, and it really turned into something personal.
It escalated quickly.
Everything gets personal fast.
Very quickly. So I want everybody's view. I will always say that pie trumps over cake forever.
Wrong. Cake, cupcakes, all the other that fall in that category under the cake definitely trump pie. Now, I love my pie.
He said definitely trump pie. Keep going. Don't stop. But I'm gonna interject it at random points.
Whatever. You guys still have yet to try my lady's cheesecake cupcakes, and I think that'll change your mind for sure, Canuck.
No,
That's
man.
all I have to say.
One sentence, dude. Can you put meat in a cake?
Have you ever had chicken pot cake? I haven't, and that sounds terrible. Downright awful. Or steak and kidney cake. No. People eat that, and it's delicious. Like, honestly, chicken pot pie, that just sounds delicious. You don't even have to know what it tastes like just for it to sound delicious. But chicken pot cake sounds awful. And I'm sorry, there might be some fantastic cakes, but there are also a lot of terrible cakes, terrible cupcakes. Now, I will say this: I had somebody say they were so vehemently against cake that they're like, I would take a bad pie over a good cake any day. And I say that's foolish. That's just down. That is wrong. That's wrong. I'm sorry, but bad anything versus good anything, you can't say that that's better.
Like, I love my pie. Like, pumpkin pie, you put it in front of me, I can devour one to myself in under 10 minutes. Like, I love that pie. But
Gross.
cake? Oh, do you hate pumpkin pie?
Oh yeah, dude. This is an old telly. I'm wrong.
What's wrong with you?
What do you think? What do you think, Mr. Quickie? Where are you at?
Yeah, where are you on the pie cake?
I'm definitely for cake.
Oh, boo.
Cake is just like, and like going back to the thing you said, you can't put meat in a cake. Like, have you seen Epic Mealtime? They make meat cakes all the time. So that like you're wrong there. I'm gonna tell you you're wrong there, but yeah, just the pie thing is there's a lot of nasty pies out there. I think there's more nasty pies than there's nasty cakes.
But
I can't
delicious
stand
pie always beats delicious cake. That's the key. The top end of pie far exceeds the top end of cake. And the bottom end, they're both it's just the dregs. You can't compare the bottom ends.
So, cheesecake, the best cake of all. Cheese pie, big flop.
No, but see,
cheesecake's in its own category.
I believe pie has been on Earth way longer than cake. I do. Look through the history. Shepherd's pie.
Look at the history.
Look at the history.
Let them eat cake.
There you go. Marie Antoinette. So speaking of history,
that's pretty old.
Heard it all. French Revolution. Here we go. What's next?
But I will say that it's probably a little bit easier to make a pie because a cake is something really easy can you screw up. And cupcakes, man, people screw up cupcakes all the time. That's why I hate cake.
Oh yeah,
I have
can
been
see
offered so many terrible cupcakes in my existence that it has driven me completely towards pie only.
Sounds like fruitcake is what changed his mind here. So
Yes, fruitcake. We all know how terrible fruitcake is, and that's like a standard cake.
that's one type of fruit cake. You can also get those cakes that have like yummy custard fillings with like strawberries or whatever. They're awesome. Like Black Forest cake.
Whatever, dude. I will be trolling cake for as long as I live.
You can't troll the troll.
So speaking of trolling,
Yes.
Yeah.
let's move on here.
Yes.
A little YouTube drama because ever since iFly had to quit, people have kind of been like, okay, who do we talk about now?
Yeah. Who do we poke at? Which bear do we poke?
So I do follow his channel. I am entertained by his videos on a regular basis, but MinnesotaBurns has been called out for making fake trolling videos. As much as I like the guy, I do believe that when you do create a trolling channel, you slowly run out of content, and people do get sick and tired of someone bringing the hate. So I think it's one of those things where he is starting to hit that line where either one, it's not as funny anymore, or two, he just has nothing else to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, trolling has kind of become the norm. Even channels that aren't based strictly around trolling seem to have trolling shows, and I get it. In a lot of cases, trolling can be downright hilarious. To me, trolling is a little more entertaining when it's spontaneous. You'll get the guys that do some trolling mid game, and they'll record things live. Like live trolling reactions are always funny.
Yeah.
When it's like a premeditated, carefully laid out. I don't really call that trolling. That's more of like you're slagging on someone's character, and yeah, character assassination is basically what it comes down to. And iFly we talked about it last week. Live by the sword, die by the sword. And he got his ass on a rocket when he like literally he launched straight up to the top of the YouTube charts, not the top, but like in the upper echelon by shitting on someone else's head. And guess what? Ever since he did that, everyone's got a target on his back. Not everyone, but a lot of people have a target on his back, saying like, "Hey, if that's how you're gonna roll, you gotta watch your back."
Yeah.
What do you think about that, Zach?
Oh yeah, like with the trolling, like he's all his material is almost getting to be the same thing. I mean, every single day he uploads, and I see like Angry Mob on Xbox Live for like the 80th time or something,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
He's got to switch it up a little. Maybe he should troll something else besides Call of Duty, because
Well,
Yeah, like Lego Star Wars or something.
like,
yeah, that would be funny. I'd watch that.
I can't be the one to and we knock him too hard. He's obviously doing something, right? He's
Yep.
got those amount of
Oh, yeah.
subs
Yeah,
versus
for
what I
sure.
have. But I just think, as a whole, and I think it's funny because Woody did a video about trolling and saying that everybody that trolls is doesn't contribute anything. But he kept saying, except for MinnesotaBurns, except him. He's a good guy.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, well, you can't draw that line.
No,
I think
exactly.
anybody that continuously has to troll people in order to get views is slowly going to run out of content. Not to
Yeah.
mention start bringing the hate from other individuals. And again, the guy is entertaining. He's good at what he does. But maybe find another avenue to do it. Because you're right, Zach. The next angry Xbox mom, I'm not laughing anymore. I'm just kind of like, oh, he's pissed off another mom.
Yeah.
For you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and this one's hotter than the last one.
Yeah. And it's like anything else. Like you said, when it's the same content over and over and over again, regurgitated in, in some cases the same way, not even different ways, it is going to get old. It's no different than any other medium where you keep spitting out the same thing. Eventually, the audience is going to dwindle away. And that's not to make his channel any less, not to make what he's done less of an accomplishment as far as like subs and following and all that sort of stuff. It's all important. But as somebody who obviously has some talent and some ability in the YouTube world, you gotta change it up. You gotta move on to other things, or it's just gonna die away.
Yeah, definitely have to build on that to grow if you want to be successful and have a long career here.
Yes. All right. And continuing in this serious vein on Tell Me I'm Wrong this week, the NRA. Wow.
Well, tell me I'm wrong. They're just a bunch of idiots.
Yes. Tell me I'm wrong. They're a bunch of douchebags. AK, you could probably add to this.
Yeah, I'll just go with those two. That's probably friendly enough.
I really actually wish that we had an American guest or two to discuss this particular topic. We'll probably revisit it at some point in the future. But it is mind-blowing to me that this is happening continually, and how so many millions of Americans, they don't even have their heads in their sand. Their heads are out of the sand. They're looking at talking heads do have their heads in the sand. The top echelon, the leaders in the NRA, and I'm sure some of them are very, very smart, but the guys they choose to be the talking heads and to be the public face, and to tell the NRA's views to the rest of the world are shockingly ignorant, and
Right.
it's insane. It's insane the things that come out of their mouths.
America.
I will say that it obviously is ironic that we're constantly talking about the NRA guns in the United States while we're watching some gameplay going on here of us shooting people. But one thing remains clear to me that the NRA keeps stating, and that is, it's not the guns that are killing people, it's the people that are either mentally unstable, who have some access to a relative's gun or something like that. I'm like, that's the exact problem.
Right.
And there's also people advocating that it's all because of movies and video games. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm pretty sure that video games and movies are the same pretty much across the world right now. And to say that that's what's causing these shootings is ridiculous. I will also say that any type of gun legislation, the U.S. has taken way too long to implement. It's already too late.
Yep.
Yeah, there's already been more tragedies in the meantime.
Because I also understand someone's perspective as the government can't take away something that I believe is my right. And Americans will always say it's their right.
America.
But at the same time, you're running out of time to implement anything to the point where the latest shooting, which happened over the weekend, where on the Friday, where the kid walked in. It was so ironic. 10 minutes after the class got instructed on what to do in a lockdown situation,
In
a
case
kid came
someone
out
brings a gun,
That's so ironic.
with the shotgun. But did the teacher also have a concealed weapon? No, the teacher talked to the student, giving him back the shotgun, and nobody died.
Yeah.
The NRA immediately says, well, if the teacher had a gun, everything would
would be
have been
avoided.
avoided.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
If everyone had guns, we'd have none of these problems then.
I'm just like, the whole shootout would have happened in the classroom.
Yeah, and like, again, not to oversimplify the situation, but people need to realize that yes, mental instability obviously plays a part, but there are perfectly stable people that have guns and have a lot of them, and that's one of the big problems in the States. Is as much as law-abiding citizens, maybe the vast majority of them are not the ones committing the gun crimes. The sheer availability of firearms in the U.S. is a huge part of the problem.
Yep.
And unfortunately, there are a lot of law-abiding citizens that don't do a great job of protecting those weapons that they have registered, that they have and they maintain and they take care of, and it's their right. But guess what? There's still too many cracks where guns are slipping through, and people that shouldn't have them are getting them, and bad things are happening. And it's again, I don't want to oversimplify it, but it can be simplified to the point whereas if you look at the statistics, look at other Western countries that have much lower gun crime rates. It just simply comes down to availability, and that's always going to make it easier for these massacres to take place.
Well, it's been a horrific year. I've always said that kids should be able to go to school without worrying about guns, and for crying out loud, firefighters should be able to go attack a fire without wondering if they're going to get sniped
Yep.
while they're fighting a fire. Just absolutely astonishing. What's your take on that, Zach?
Well, like I was just gonna say that they've dug themselves in their own hole by everybody having access to guns. It's the mentality that now someone else has got the potential to shoot me, so I've got to defend myself by having a gun too. And then, I guess that could work in a way, but you can't go back to having no guns, right?
Oh yeah,
You know what I mean?
exactly. And the part of the problem is that the NRA uses things like the home deterrent, and it's true when homeowners have guns and they're in the home, there is typically less home invasion type crime, robberies, etc. in residential areas. But the problem is it doesn't have anything to do with public areas like schools, like in the case of whatever it was a half a year ago, the theater shooting, those types of things, they don't come into play at all. And unfortunately, the NRA isn't talking about the man of the house having a pistol in his side table. They're like they literally have assault rifles and like an entire gun cabinet full of them, and they have 4,000 rounds of ammo. They've got enough to last through the next 3 zombie apocalypses. And
That's exactly it.
And sure, if you're ready for the zombie apocalypse, I say kudos to you. But guess what? It's probably not happening.
Have you guys
anytime soon.
seen the shotgun undercarriage for your bed infomercial?
No.
Okay, this is a good old 2 o'clock in the morning. Why the hell am I watching this? They were offering a standardized, for every bed, shotgun holder that looks like it looks like it matches the bed, so it doesn't look like out of place.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, showing a reenactment of somebody. There's like a rustling downstairs, and this guy literally takes 2 seconds in roughly waking up, scooping his shotgun. He's ready to go downstairs.
Hide your kids, hide your wife.
Yeah, exactly. exactly.
Yeah.
As you know, we want
I just
every shotgun holder to match our bedroom apparel, right? That's what I'm worried about. I don't know what you guys.
Yeah, I'm just going to say one more thing, and then I got to get out of here. But I just wanted to say that, like, they always immediately they blame video games, and I think it's mostly because people spend a lot of time on playing video games, and obviously because they're fun, right? And that's why. But video games take a lot longer to like develop and get out there than movies do, and like you never saw a zombie video game till way after. Movies like The Evil Dead and stuff like that. So, yeah, that's where it's at. Like, media, it's got an effect on how we look at the world. But at the same time, like, what kind of person thinks differently than us and just thinks, oh yeah, shooting people in Call of Duty, I'm gonna go kill some people in real life?
Yeah, it doesn't match up at all.
No,
Yeah.
There's no tie-in. And this comes from a group of guys that obviously play shooters, and in some cases have played them for years. But with that, we'll actually start wrapping things up here. Thanks again, Mr. Quickie, for joining us. And again, we'll make sure we throw a link to your channel in the description, so you guys make sure you check out his channel. And as for Canuck and AK, I'll just we'll touch a little bit more on that whole video game thing. I remember hearing that for years and years and years, like back in the days of Doom and Quake and these terrible games and the dangers that they have on young people's minds, and I will say this, if somebody is unstable or they're suffering from some mental disorder or mental sickness and mental illness in general, there is a lot of them out there, and they're very misunderstood. I'm going to say this from a very uneducated standpoint, as I have not much knowledge on mental illness, but yeah, maybe it does help develop some violent tendencies or whatnot. But for any sane thinking individual, if you can't, any sane thinking individual can easily separate entertainment from reality, and anyone that tells me otherwise is so full of BS, it blows my mind. I have never once had any violent thoughts because of violent movies and violent video games that I partake in, because why? Because I recognize the difference between reality and entertainment, and I'm sure the 99.9999% of gamers are on the same level.
Right. And just to touch back onto that, the mental illness, if someone does have that, any type of one, and their person who is caring for them is allowing them to play, like Call of Duty or Halo or whatever, there's got to be some kind of barrier that they need to put between them to make them understand. Because what I'm trying to say is that it's not the person who has a mental illness that's at fault. It's people who are allowing them to make decisions like this. Well, why was your guns not locked up in a locked up gun cabinet? Why was Joe allowed to play Call of Duty 12 hours a day over and over and over and over? Why was Joe allowed to watch whatever TV show or whatever movie? It's all relative to what's around us and how we deal with it with the people.
It's just a good comparison when you're looking at how other countries either deal with how things are laid out on gun control. That's why the NRA's excuses and reasoning for don't take people's guns away doesn't make any sense. Because, okay, let's take a look at another country that does allow concealed weapons and or semi-auto or assault weapons. Typically, those people have something in place where they've either done military service and have been educated in the world of weapons. Like, okay, you're talking to three guys that don't mind going out and shooting some skeets or playing some paintball. We understand that weapons can be fun. We understand that, all those things. And I know lots of people that own weapons.
Yep.
What doesn't make sense is this mentality, and this is why I say they're already too late. This mentality in the United States, I watched a really good debate between someone that was pro-gun and someone who was anti-gun. And the guy that was pro-gun, all he kept saying was, "I need my weapon to control protect my family, because unfortunately, in this day and age, we cannot predict the shortcomings of human beings."
No.
And I'm like, if that's where society is at, then you might as well call martial law, and everybody has sandbags and tanks in their driveway to protect each other.
It's an outrageous statement because there are dangerous people in this world, but when you say something like that, you can't paint the gun situation with one brush and paint something like, say, the use of an automobile with another brush. Because guess what? Getting in your car and driving on highways is far more dangerous than one would think. And there's a far greater likelihood that you're going to be killed by some dumbass behind the wheel than some dumbass behind the butt of a gun. And that's not to say that the gun issue isn't a problem. The big issue here is that we have millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of people driving every single day, and only a handful of people, causing problems with guns every day. But you can control the gun situation. You can't take, cars out of the scenario. We're not going to back up society that much.
I just don't want to see a scenario where if I want to see my kid in elementary school, I have to get searched like an airport security guard.
Or send him there in his Kevlar vest because you're worried about getting popped off by his classmate.
I'm not sure if you guys saw. I saw an article last night that I was reading, and it was about this. A dad went down to a school with a gun just to see what their security was like for his kids there. To see if he could get through and see, how they handled it. I mean, he's in jail right now, and I didn't get the actual outcome. All I got that was this dad went to school. His statement was, "I'm just trying to make sure my kids are going to be protected when I get there. Now I'm in jail."
And I think that's absolutely crazy, because the only thing that I foresee after they did have a legitimate number. I think it was like 900 or so teachers that signed up for that concealed weapon program in one of the states that does allow that. And this is what I see. I see someone making a mistake, thinking that somebody has a gun, and I see a shootout. And even if someone does have a gun, it is unfortunate these instances have happened in the past where people were defenseless, and I understand there's crazy people out there. But adding more guns to the equation, I just see more bloodshed. I don't know what else the answer is, but I'll say again, I believe it's too late. Your gun culture is the way it is because you left it there. No different than the immigration culture. So again, this is not just a knock on. It's not Canada versus America in any way. No. This is a simple observation of gun control.
Believe me, we have plenty of our own problems. We'll discuss them more. All right. That said, thank you guys very much for tuning in. We really appreciate it. And this is another Tell Me I'm Wrong episode. This is A-Bomb signing off, along with A-Canuck and AK.
I'd like to say thank you very much for Mr. Quickie for joining us.
Yep.
He's our first special guest. And
yes, our first special guest.
Special. Again, guys, this is a show where you don't need 1 million subscribers to be on it. We believe everybody has a voice. So if you'd like to be on the show, please send us a direct message on Twitter at noEHinTEAM, or send us a Gmail email at dgateam@gmail.com, and we'll be very happy to talk to you and get you on the next show.
All right, thanks guys for listening, and hopefully we'll catch you next time on Tell Me I'm Wrong.
Later.
I've got you. Kill confirmed.
Friendly UAV inbound.
I've got you.
Check your timeline. Good job, SEALs. Stand by for further orders.